All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Dan Rather here with the big interview with Steve Perry, which is going to happen April 15th. My Dan Rather impersonation. Famous, better than the Real Music Observer intro, right? It's interesting that Dan Rather got a gig doing this because, quite honestly, uh, let's be honest here. I think wasn't he fired from CBS for like falsifying documents or something like that years ago, and just they had enough. I mean, but in any case, he's here with Steve Perry. The full interview is scheduled to air on April 16th. It's funny. It looks like Steve Perry is ramping up again. So whether he's ramping up because he's about to hit the road and do a concert tour, or he's got another album coming out on the 15th, this is, the rumor mill is really going crazy, and Perry Nation right now is speculating out of control. I do not have any insights to either one. I am just observing this as it unfolds. One thing I can tell you about the little snippet here is that Perry is very willing to talk about substance abuse, which when you think of Steve Perry, you don't think of substance abuse. I don't know if it's alcohol or drugs or a combination of the two, but he's on top of the world with this band. Again, there's no, if Rather wants to get to the heart of the situation, I'd love to see him ask questions about relationships. I mean, if this is truly the big interview, let's ask questions. He could name each guy in the band at the time, before, of course, he dismissed maybe Ross Valerie and Steve Smith. He could even talk about that. There are a lot of people, like myself, who are kind of curious as to how the relationship is now. You could obviously start with Neil Sean, and then work around the room and then see what his responses are to those questions. If the big interview isn't so big and there are some questions that are off limits, then shame on Dan Rather for not taking this opportunity to kind of get to the bottom of what many fans find mysterious, or an enigma. Here's a guy who is on top of the world, who checked out, who then checked back in a couple of times, really, and then checked out again, or was told to take a hike, and then that narrative, almost like he was daring Journey to do it. Go ahead, get rid of me, because I don't want to do this anyway, so go ahead, get rid of me. And they did. They got rid of him because they wanted to move forward. And my guess is he really did have enough of fame, but he kept dipping his toes in the water, whether that be through his second solo album, Trial by Fire, even recording a song with David Foster in 1998, I Stand Alone, which is just a masterpiece of a song. I mean, the guy still had it, and he could have delivered it for years and years. And even now, the age of 70 years old, he still doesn't sound all that bad singing these songs. So my question is, will this interview have any meat, or will it be mostly potatoes and leftovers? That's my menu forecast for you, or my food commentary. Steve Perry, though, always a provocative interview, because his personality, when he's answering questions, you could see, he lights up. He actually at one point agreed with Rather in this clip on some metaphor that Dan Rather brought up, although I really couldn't understand what Rather was saying, because he was talking like this, and there was a Steve Perry, you think your life would be, and it's like, this is why it'd be nice, maybe the same format with maybe like Mitch LaFon or Eddie Trunk, or somebody who connects with the rock community a little bit more, and who I can hear, who's a little bit more coherent. But in any event, it's very interesting. Steve Perry is back, and he's talking, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. All right, done with this. Be back soon. See you then.